Hey, here's my gear. Blackland dart razor, whip dog boar brush, Williams mug soap, and a Nacet that's been used 25 times. So right now, 26. Definitely the farthest I've taken a blade. I graded that puck of Williams up into and I've put it in a few different things. A 4-inch Walmart bowl, for large swirls of lather, to try that out. But I've started soaking it during this part of Austere August, where I'm using the same soap all month. And so I'm using my very cool, that I like, Old Spice shaving mug, and it's filled up pretty high with hot water. And let's get this brush soaking as well. I like to have it soaking for a few minutes. This is what it looks like after I come back from 24-hour shave, 24 hours ago, where I shaved it. And so some of the hairs, just for you new guys, some of the hairs are grouped together in clumps, but just kind of brush it around a little bit, and then it's much different. It's just the way they dry, and it's okay. It's normal. I had a question on that the other day. Saw a question online. They're pretty rigid at this point, and so I like to grab it by the base of the knot to shrink it up, be able to put the tips in my little, this is how I like to wet the brush before use. There we go. And okay, so just give that a few minutes to soak while I tell you about the other things. Let's just take a look at this Nacet Blade. I haven't looked at it in a long time, like a week or two. And I mean, it looks great. It's got a little bit of build up on the, like a couple of millimeters away from the edge, but this guy's been used 25 times now. And all I've been doing is loosening up the handle so that there is some air that can get between this guy to let him dry and help to decrease staining and that sort of thing. Blackland, I believe, provides those types of instructions with its razors, or look in a video online or something. So this is the dart. This is the polished head. I'm sorry, the machined head. You can see machining marks. Those are not scratches from me or anything. That's just the machining marks. And that's the personality that this one has. It's also something that costs less than the polished version. Here's the cool thing. This is solid stainless steel. You could get a Dremel and a little cloth buffing wheel and some finishing compound, from what I understand, from what I've seen online, and you can buff this sucker up. I'll probably start with just the head, but because I love the look of this is a consistently finished handle that just looks very nice. The bottom of the base plate has some of the, see if I can get the angle right, has some more machining marks, but I kind of think they're cool. I kind of think those are more colorful. I think probably a little bit of soap residue is on there from just all the shaving, and I usually take each razor apart that I use, put it on my little towel, and just kind of wash the parts. But with Austin, since I'm leaving the same blade in it every time, I'm just kind of rolling with it. So he's all tightened up, because I don't want to damage the blade and make it have a shorter life. After the shave, this scent is, for me, just a little bit too feminine. I think it's just on that side of the line for feminine. I mean, I can see how some guys might like it, but not me. I might try the original. This does have parabens, a couple of different paraben ingredients, and someone online said that there may have been maybe some concerns with that. Other people said there wasn't, but I just want to warn you to research it and see make your own decision about that. The brush, this is a cool purple type handle, available, I think, like on AliExpress and Shave Forge. I like it. It's big. I've got big hands. This is a 24 millimeter bore knot, and boom, it's soaked enough now. So here we go. And that's all my gear. Here is my lather bowl that I'll take it to. and I like it a lot. Inward curved edges up here all the way around. Keep that lather in. It turns out to be a great feature. I suspected it would, but it does work pretty well. Let me get my face wet to soften up those hairs, get them ready for the shave. Using cool water, and I do have hard water in this region. Okay, so I'm going to take the, I'm using what John L., I believe was his name, on a Shaving with Rich video where he tried out Williams soap and 4 different ways and he couldn't figure it out. Well, John replied in the comment threads that he'd been using it for a very long time and enjoyed it, and even came back to it not just for the price, just for the, because he enjoyed it. And he gave a generalization of his technique, and I've been kind of following that the last few days, trying to tweak it, and a couple of times it's been very easy to get a great lather, but last couple of times I believe I have over watered it as I'm reducing my load time. I believe that I'm not reducing my water addition as much. So I'm going to pour this out. That was his instruction. And now we've got a nicely moistened puck. This is a hot water soak. And then I'm going to take the brush out. I'm going to let the water fall out. Not going to do any shaking. He shook his Badger brush 3 light times. And that's his measurement. Well, this is a smaller knot, and so I'm not going to shake it. All right, so I'm going to do 30 seconds of loading, and start now. I'm liking this knot. Feels good. And you do get sometimes a little lather overflow. This should definitely give me enough soap to do the job. But what I'm hunting is that creamy soap that has good cushion, nice glide. Almost done. And that's 30. Okay. So we'll put the soap away. And there we go. So some of the soap right there is very bubbly, but that's okay. It's watery and all that mess. So now what we're going to do is take it right to the bowl. I'm not even going to add any more water from my syringe to it. I did have to do that when I was loading for like a minute, but that gave me way too much lather. So I don't have to hold this bowl quite so high. You don't need to look at the top of my head anyway. You can just, like I do, pretend like I have hair all over my head. And we'll just see if we can get a good creamy lather. I know how to do it using lots of soap. Loading for like a minute and a half, I can do it. But I don't want to load for a minute and a half each time, not just because of the time constraint, but that kind of wastes the soap. I end up with a whole bowl of lather that I just put down the tube. Now look, after just a little bit of stirring, all those bubbles, look, they are greatly reduced. So let's just see what this turns into. This looks very good. I declare, look at that elasticity there. Declare, I thought I had, I saw sheen on it. Now let's do a little finger test, because this is looking good. Is it too thick? Is it too thin? It doesn't have a lot of cushion. Interesting. I'm trying to figure out what to feel, what to look for. I lightly feel my fingertips. So when it was too dry, I felt my fingerprints. That's what I meant to say. I felt my fingerprints more. And so it could be that this lather is better. So Williams is so hard to do because it doesn't start out thick like many soaps do. It starts out just kind of thin, and then if you overwater it, then it's thin. And so how do you know, like right now, am I ahead of that optimum point and I need to add some water, or am I past it and I better not add any water? I don't know how to get to that, how to figure out the roadmap to where I am with that. I mean, let's try shaving with that. And here's the thing, if it ends up to where I have to add water to my brush because it's very thick on my face, then I'll know that I should have added some water, but kind of by then it's too late. But let's just go. And that was very fast. That wasn't very much stirring time at all, like that. Just a little water on my face. And then we can start putting this on. See if we get a creamy feeling. See if it starts to thicken up. Gets pasty, then we know it's too dry and needs water. You know, that might be about right. I do some, after I spread it around, you know that you need more water if you do what I just did and you end up with tons of lather on the side of your brush. And you still got some on your face. That means you've been generating lather and mixing it in the soap, with the soap inside the brush. And maybe you should have spent a little bit more time in the bowl to make sure it was mixed thoroughly. All right, let's just see how the razor behaves. But I didn't get a lot on the sides, normal amount. And then as I did my painting down here, it's not all clumpy right here in the flat area. It's going to be clumpy here on the top and bottom of the brush where the edges of the brush were. But in this middle area, it's just kind of like just kind of shallow grooves like farmland. And if there's clumps and changes in those grooves, that's usually an indicator you need to add a little bit more water, or at least for me, the way I like my lathers, that's an indicator for me. You may like them that thick, you know, and if they shave well for you, more to you. All right. Looks good, feels good. Shave it off. Late. Oh yeah, okay. Pretty good glide. It's not like second or third pass glide, but that's okay because we're doing a whole lot of hair cutting. Second and third pass are always smoother because there's less hair to cut. Yeah, that's nice. And also because that first pass got rid of the oils and stuff on my skin. You may do a pre-shave. Glycerin soap I've heard is a great pre-shave soap. It really does a good job of preparing your face and all that. And it can be had pretty cheaply. Very nice. And there we go. Just a little splash of water, not washing everything off, but a lot of it. Get my brush back in the mix here. Get it all loaded up and ready. Also, if you get to the end of your shave and your lather has developed a ton of little bubbles and it looks dry, then you know you didn't add enough water. All right. If your lather is a little dry, sometimes the best thing to do is not to add any more water to the bowl, but just leave some extra droplets on your face. Leave your face more dripping wet, and sometimes that is the perfect amount. So this is comfortable, creamy. I do get a very light soapy smell, that citronella smell that is the Williams trademark. And I think it smells good. It just smells soapy and clean in larger concentrations. Yeah, sure, it smells like you're outside trying to scare off mosquitoes with a citronella candle, but in smaller quantities it just smells to me like just a clean, light, soapy smell. Just getting a good coating. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I bet that's going to be a good performer right here. This may be the one. Didn't add any water. Now, if I go to a different brush, I might have to do some more experimenting because it's going to hold a different amount of water. Oh, that's smooth. That feels great. I mean, you barely feel the blade. And this is a like 7 out of 10 aggression razor. If it's hard to rinse the soap out of the razor, it's a sign that you need to add more water. Okay, carefully I watch my touch, my pressure, and I'm also bringing the handle a little bit closer in to my skin, to my face, to make the blade have actually a higher angle, a steeper angle. And I'm trying to be very light, just enough pressure to keep the blade on the skin. And I'm watching right here on this bump on my neck. I learned if I switch it around and do it like I am now, I get no razor burn or irritation right there. Before that, it was very tricky with aggressive razors like this. But when I bring that handle in, it reduces the aggression. Probably because, like a seesaw, this safety bar here is like the fulcrum on a seesaw, the center part. And so if the angle is of the seesaw on my this sand, if that comes down, then this top cap end goes up a very tiny amount. That brings the blade up, puts a little less pressure on the blade to be on the skin. And I got a feeling that's why it turns it into a medium, maybe a 5 out of 10 aggression razor. It's like having a magic adjustable razor. All you have to do is change the angle. I really enjoy that aspect of it. All right. All right. Feeling good. No irritation. Just gradually reducing the hairs, not trying to wipe all the hairs out on any one pass. Last full pass. If I have hairs in my problem area right here, then I will do a neck only pass. Williams is a soap that can deliver you a very bubbly, light, airy lather on occasion, especially if you don't bloom the soap, if you don't soak the soap. And that lather is not a good one to shave with. I mean, it's rough. I mean, it will work because it is still slick, but it's not creamy at all. doesn't have as protective a quality. I think a lot of guys, that's what they get, and so they know that they dismiss Williams as being a contender, but it is a luxurious soap if you know how to work it. And apparently I figured it out with this one. I think my soap economy is doing pretty good. This is a much more pleasing amount to have left, enough for another neck pass, and then a little margin extra in case I made a mistake or something. And I'm happy with that. And I think probably if I wanted it a little thicker, maybe just with this brush, shake it once or twice to get a little bit more water out. But I'm very happy with this lather. Feels good. So on my cheek, I just did a cross grain pass. Cheek gets shaved so well that I don't usually try to do an against the grain pass. I could probably get away with it on my cheeks, but I can't get away with it on my neck. Too much irritation. My hairs on my neck go sideways, and so right now, with some people, this may be a against the grain pass if their hairs grow down, but mine don't. They go sideways on my neck. And so this is a cross grain pass. Over here it's pretty uniform and consistent, and I get really good shaves with it, kind of no matter what I do. Over here it's all swirly and squirrely and twitchy, and is the challenge area. And there we go. I'm going to rinse and take a look at how the results worked out. That's amazing. I went through a phase with this blade, maybe around use 10 all the way to use 22 maybe, where I needed to do another touch-up pass, a neck only pass, because of these hairs right here. But the last couple of shaves, this getting older by the minute blade just keeps delivering. I'm really surprised. It was hard to actually try to find a tip that had some length right here, and for me that is crazy above average. I can't go. If I went against the grain, then just about any blade and any razor would give me a great shave. But since I can't, I have to kind of have the cream of the crop. At least not necessarily most expensive, but the ones that have the geometry that just matches my situation. Now, hey, if you're lucky and you find a razor that's a $15 razor that does that for you, then there you go. But terrific, super happy. And this was convenient and easy. It was very practical. There's no measuring involved. Just pull the brush out, tilted it to the side. If I kept it straight up, more water would stay in it. Tilt it to the side to allow maybe the water to come around, and you saw how it drained a little bit more. No shaking. That's how much water I took into the mug. I did measure 30-second lather, the loading, and then just took it to the bowl. Didn't add any more water. So pretty cool. Next time maybe I'll shake it maybe twice and have a little bit less water, and see if it becomes a more rich lather. But I'm really, really happy with this. And a lot of this lather is not dissipating at all. Some of the thin stuff around the edges there is, but right here, that's good lather. It's not the best. It's not as creamy as Williams can get, but it's good stuff and it'll shave well. Williams can get a little better, but I think it seems like maybe you have to waste a little soap to get there. And so that's obviously a choice that you can make. Very nice. Very nice. Very happy with that. Now let's, I don't really get any tightening of the skin or drying of the skin with Williams. Seems to treat my skin just fine, but I have oily skin. So that might be kind of cheating. All right, so let's get a little bit of this Afta fresh. This is still available. I found it at a local grocery store where a lot of them don't have it. A lot of the drugstores I've been to, like CVS and Walgreens, they don't carry this. I just happened to find an Ingles grocery store that did. It is available online, but like on Amazon and stuff. And I think you should probably look. I think try to get it for $3 or $4 a piece. If it's more than that, like you can get it on eBay, but they're wanting like $8 a bottle for it. It's crazy. Don't do that. There's definitely better stuff out there for that price, and it doesn't have, they don't have parabens, so you don't have to worry about that. All right, face feels great. No irritation, no stinging. So my technique must have been on point this time. This does have alcohol in it, and so if I did gouge myself a little bit or create some roughness, even if it didn't bleed, sometimes the alcohol will let you know where those places are. I don't even think there was anything at all like that. So man, this was an on-point shave. All right, we're cool. I'm gonna put my stuff away, clean up. If I think of anything that was pertinent for this shave, I'll let you know. So my little brush here, after I stropped it on the towel a little bit to help to dry it out, since it's being used every day, optimally I like to use a Boar every other day, not consecutively, to help to make sure it gets dry all the way through. So I spread out the bristles as much as I can to increase ventilation. And he's getting wider and wider every day. Very comfortable. Really glad I got that brush, and pretty inexpensive too. The knot about $16, I think, maybe 14, maybe even 12 from whipped2dog.com. No relation, no association with that company. I've just had good results with their stuff, especially their silver tip badgers. They are a little bit on the low backbone side. Not really current trend right now, but I like it. So that Boar is doing great. Really happy with it. And so we see a little bit of the lather inside that will solidify over time on top of that hard puck. And since we're just 7 days away from the end of the month, I've heard Williams goes about a month. It's definitely going to go farther than that for me, and I even doubled up on the use of it a few times this month. It's been a pleasure to use. It's been interesting to learn. Maybe there's a soap out there that will also translate the knowledge, because Williams is not the cheapest option out there. At first, when I started this, I thought it was, and so I wanted to encourage people and to give them some good know-how to be able to use it and enjoy it, and not just tolerate those airy lathers that aren't as good as they could, not nearly as good as they could be. But then I discovered that Prix de Provence 63, especially, it's a triple milled soap. It may be expensive in the beginning, like $17 or something like that, but that soap may last you like 2 years. Something like that, maybe even 3 or 4. It lasts so long that it's really hard to tell. The Sella is a great Italian maker, a traditional one that's been around for 100 years or so. It's an almond type, cherry almond type scent. I really enjoy it. It's not a triple milled soap like the one Prix de Provence, but Prix de Provence is a French soap. I can't remember if I mentioned that. Easily available on Amazon and other good soap purveyors. But Sella, you can buy a whole block of it, a whole kilogram of it, instead of just the 125, 150 gram tub. And for just like $29, or even better if you find it on sale. And that will last a very long time as well. And it's really easy to lather. I like the smell better than Williams. It's easier to lather than Williams, and it's cheaper than Williams. So that might be my preference, that or the PDP for a long-term soap. The cheapest soap per use. You may have to invest more in the beginning, but it'll just last a very long time. And those are very easy to lather. At least they were for me. I didn't really have to think about it too much. So very nice. And so anyway, but I'll probably return to the Williams too. It's a neat scent. You do kind of feel connected to the shavers that have gone before you, because odds are someone in your history, men who shaved, probably used Williams on a regular basis. So there we go. Your grandpa, his father, that kind of thing. All right, so I'm gonna keep cleaning up. Almost done. So that's it. I'm really happy with the way this one turned out. It could be a little better if the soap were just a little richer, and so I might try reducing the water just a little bit. But that's it. Great results. Terrific. And if you're a straight razor shaver, this might be the mix to have, because those guys usually like it a little thinner than double-edged shavers, just to get that extra slickness and performance. So there we go. Really happy. I'm happy how it was easy to do, like I said, without measuring tools or anything like that. Just a 30-second timer in your head, if you don't happen to have one of the camera staring straight at you. All right, well, there you go. I hope, I consider this one of the better shaves. Maybe in terms of practicality and simplicity and not having a lot of extra lather, it's the best shave so far of the month. But in terms of luxury, I will list the best shave in the description of this video. You can see the recipe that I had for that one. It's a little bit more work, I believe. I don't think it involves the hot soaking of the puck. I think that's probably the secret for Williams. And it's probably a little bit more work and measuring and that kind of thing, but the lather was just amazing. Probably had some extra lather on that one too. So you might be able to try it if you want, and start paring down some of the measurements so that you can make it more economical. But I mean, Williams is cheap. If you order it, if you find it right, you can get it maybe for $1.50 to $1.80. Anything more than that, anything more than $2, and you're getting ripped off. There's a lot of eBay stuff where you're going to get ripped off if you don't do the math, divide out. Sometimes they're trying to charge $8 a puck or something like that. It's crazy. Oh, anyway, Amazon does have some pretty good deals on it if you do the math there as well. You're less likely to get as ripped off on Amazon as eBay, but it still can happen, so do the math. Anything less than $2 a puck is a good deal, what I consider a good deal at least. And don't forget to add shipping in there. If they charge, if they want to charge $7 for 3 pucks, that might be a reasonable deal. It's a better deal if you get 4 pucks, but then if they want to tack on another $7 for shipping, then you're getting taken advantage of. All right, we're good. Face feels great. No irritation at all. That stuff hydrates. The Afta hydrates my skin pretty well. Not having a problem with it at all. So there we go. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. I hope there was something here that helped you. Take care and good night.